Hi, Michelle. Hi. You might be mute. There you are. Hi. How are you?
Hi, how are
Hi.
you doing, Rachel? Long
Hey.
time no see.
I know. It's so good to see you.
How you like the gray hair?
Yeah, at first I was like, wait, that's not Michelle. I love it. I'm right there with you. This is
Yeah,
all
I I
like
I started
highlight.
last October. Last October, and Kim has been kind of cutting it, and then finally this last time I allowed her to go ahead and you know give it a little bit of a style.
Yeah. It
So
must
this is all my natural
feel,
color.
no, it must
All of
feel
it's
really
natural.
good. Over the years, I've been noticing that like my body, doing all this cleansing stuff, I'm just so sensitive to all the chemicals. If I get my hair highlighted, I can feel it like for days, it's like it really burns your scalp. So I'm
There's
actually
a there's
going to
a
get my hair done tomorrow, but I'm gonna do like a deep oil tonight because I'm not quite ready to totally let that go yet.
the highlighted, it does have a chemical in it. It's a benzoid. It's not a benzoid, but not
Carcinogen.
Benadryl. It has it's something that I'm allergic to. I can't even take it inside of me. So I know that it's a stuff that doctors used to clean their everything with. It's a yellow color, and that's what they use to strip your hair from the color, to take the color off. And if any of it gets into my skin, I just go nuts. I start itching and everything. And I was
That's good though. That's good. So like that you're tuned into that. I think that's good that right? That you're responding to your body and your body's saying, no, don't do it. I have a Ayurvedic teacher that I follow, and I caught her on a talk a couple weeks ago, and she was saying that she's done coloring her hair. And it was so interesting because I didn't even realize that she had been coloring her hair. And I remember like in the back of my mind thinking like, how is she, because she's the same age as me, she's 52 or 53. And I kept thinking like, how is it that her hair is still dark? Like, how is it that she's doing that? So I think it's just like us women supporting each other, and all of those like false ideals of what we think in our culture and society, of how we're supposed to look and how we're supposed to be and all that. So we got to get honest, right? Let's get real.
Yeah, well, I didn't have any problems being really seriously, Rachel. My natural color. My ex-husband was the one that, and I was in my late 30s, and I had a few gray hairs coming through,
Mhm.
and he was like, "Well, you're too young to be
Hi,
going
Brandis.
gray."
Where are you?
Oops.
Let's see. I don't see her. Maybe she'll come back on.
Oops. So that's a reason. And then I sat there and I said, let's see what it turns out. I'll probably be okay with it anyways. The only
Yeah.
maintenance is trying to get it, straight, because I joke around about it with even Kim. I say it's like reminds me of parts of it because I have a lot of body and some natural curl. I said it reminds me of pubic hair because it just
I was
curls, and I
gonna
just like,
say that like our hair is thicker. The gray hair is thicker as we get older, right?
yeah, I've got awfully thick hair anyways, but it makes it like, like, and it doesn't hold anything either. So you have to use special oils as after your pores are open after you come out of the shower.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And we should all be doing that, right? We should all be doing that.
But I've always tried to be natural. I've always tried to be natural, and sometimes it served me, other times, oh well.
Yeah, and then you taught your kids that, right? Taught your
For the
children.
most part, they're pretty natural. They
Yeah.
just, they try to stay as natural as possible. Um, but I was looking through your list, and I think there's some interesting stuff there. I looked on the site of where you ordered this stuff. I'm
Mhm.
really familiar with a lot of the things you have, but I just know I don't do mushrooms. I've done the dry ones. I don't do ginger. I'm allergic to. I'm allergic to beets. I've had it tested with that energetic. There's a test that they stick on your
Oh,
fingers,
interesting. Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
and my energy just. I said, well, that makes sense, So I would have, paid $300 to have them test all these things after my finger was just like, ow. But it was interesting to see that some things it likes and some things it doesn't. And, so I've always been cued into that. Even fluoride, I've never been able to use fluoride. It makes my mouth feel in the inside. And
Mm.
so people don't realize it, that, like even Hitler used it on his people to see what would happen. There's a lot of history behind all these things.
Yeah, fluoride. Yeah, exactly. I know the history of fluoride and all those. I don't use fluoride either. It's interesting. There was something floating around in social media, and I just thought it was so hilarious. And it was a picture of a woman in her garden, like a farm, and so she was saying, I decided to come out to the country, and here's my house, and grow my own food, because the food that is available to us is poison. And then she goes on to talk, and she's like, and then I started to grow my own herbs so I could have my own medicine, because the medicine that was available is poison. And then she's like, she just says it's poison. And then she says, and then I have been growing my own herbs and learning how to make soap and learn how to make shampoo and makeup and all these different things, because what's available to us is poison. And so you start to realize how much, when she says that, it's all those different things. Oh no. Let me see. Oh, good.
That,
Hi.
that's why
Okay,
bioidentical, if you do
everybody's
have
on.
a need for something,
Okay, good. Into that. All right.
that's why with bioidentical, Rachel, if you're going to need something, have it compounded and every little detail is what's in it.
That's good advice. All right. So you guys, I believe that you can, oh, there you go, Julie. And Brandis, I believe that you can unmute yourself. I'm not muting you, so you can unmute yourself, or you can text me if you need help. Here, oh, there. All right, so we're going to get started. It's been really fun. Michelle and I have been catching up, and I'm going to just dive in. And this is our first Zoom call, and it's really fun to see you all in your rooms. And Brandis, I can see your kitty is so cute there. My puppers somewhere in the back. So well, first of all, welcome. I'm so glad that you all are here. I'm really excited about this program. And it's something that I've culminated for the last 30 years as a practitioner. And I just feel so passionate about, the additions that I'll explain to you in a moment. But for this Zoom call, I'm going to give a very brief explanation for the 90 days. And what I'd like you all to do is, you're all invited to the Facebook group. If you go there, there's an actual video that I made that explains like each month and what it's all about. So I don't want to spend a lot of time here explaining that, because this month, the month of April, is all about our body. It's all about physiology. And so this talk is going to be an introduction to the physiology part, right? So briefly, what it is it's a lifestyle cleanse, and it's something that I've been working on since COVID. And then I got the divine download, just said, just launch, just do it, because the perfectionist in me wanted it to, like, all these little things, it's like, just start. People need this right now. And there was two things that came through that were really important for this 90 days to you. And the biggest one is that when I practice this cleanse with these herbs that are a little bit different, that I'm going to share with you all, and I did all the practices, there was this awakening that happened where I said, oh, it's me again, like that feeling, right? Where you're just like, I recognize myself, right? And so I don't, like, who knows what happened before. I mean, I kind of lost myself in whatever I was doing. I didn't have that like clarity and that like power of like, this is me. So that's what I want the most for all of you. That's where we're headed. And that's why the title is 90 Days to You. So it takes that long, it's an unfolding of all these like layers, all these like crusties and these jackets that we take on, right? So at the end of the 90 days, if you stay true to yourself and you're disciplined, you will have that feeling too. I promise you, because I didn't do a full 90 days and I got it. So I know that you all get it. So the second part was just the community. So we need to start energetically and consciously and expanding the consciousness and all of that. Is that we can connect. And it's true that we're connecting online, and it's okay. We can connect online and we can connect, in person. And I'm not going to tell it all about tell a whole story now, but I have had some experiences with online platforms where I was very skeptical, and then I had tremendous shifts, right? I mean, we're all energy, so it does work. So there's the Facebook group. You all have Dale's book being called The Change. So we're going to lean into that one. And I'm going to introduce you to some cookbooks and different things like that. And so just remembering, it's the 90 Days to You. It's a lifestyle cleanse. So by the end of the 3 months, this should be embodied. This is not a quick fix. It's a lifestyle cleanse that you can come back to time and time again. Support yourself in the community. Don't isolate. It's like when you post things in the Facebook group, you're telling the universe what you want. And also, we get good karma points, and there's nothing like serving others to get that energetic back for yourself. So I do a class every Thursday in Santa Barbara where I do acupuncture. And I was just telling the story today because it's a full moon right now, everybody. So if you're feeling a little bit like, and when I was in the middle of my divorce and there's just so many things happening and it was just really heavy, I had my acupuncturist practice at home, and I would have a couple clients lined up in a row. And it was incredible. Like my energy would just completely shift, right? Just completely shift, because it's the act of serving. It's the act of giving. Like we come outside of ourselves. So if you're feeling down, if you're feeling heavy, if you're feeling like things are too much, to shift that energy really quickly, go to the Facebook group and post something kind of cool or comment on somebody else's post, right? I mean, I just posted a couple things that were pretty cool, right? So just, even if you don't want to, just force yourself to just say like, oh, I love that. And you'll feel better. I mean, it's really amazing how this stuff works, right? So it's just like, we need to get out of ourselves. We need to get out of our own way, right? Okay. So it's 90 days to you, right? To connect with your soul, to connect with your soul self and who you are. The community is really important. The other part is that this process is going to be stacking. So stacking is kind of like working with the law of compounding, right? It's a similar thing. So the other thing that was coming through with the divine that came in really strong is to highlight and educate that the third month is all about spirit. So it's all about connecting with your intuition. And I'm going to teach you some tools and different things that we're going to do, or you can really start to connect with that part of you and move in your world really powerfully. So, I've been having higher states of consciousness kind of come through, and there's different breath works and practices that you can do. The point of that is that you cannot do that if you are all jacked up on coffee. And it's not like it's right or wrong or good or bad. It's just, don't harsh on yourself if you're not doing the months in order, right? So the first month is all about the physiology. We got to get the physical part down. Then the second month is all about the mindset, understanding the mind and being in control of the mind and the ego and the inner child and how it can trick you. We're also going to touch on manifestations and shadows, right? So you need to have your body down. You got to have the physiology so that you're feeling good, so that you can address the mindset. If you haven't been, like I said, all jacked up on coffee, or you haven't been exercising, or you're not feeling good, you've been eating a lot of sugar, it becomes more challenging to control your mind. You can do it. It's just going to be easier if you get that month down, right? That's why we're doing it for a month. Then the third part is spirit. If you don't have control of your mind, it's going to be very difficult to tap into your intuition. I can't hear what my higher self is saying. I don't know what my soul self is saying if I have this like negative looping going on and I'm just allowing it to happen and I'm not practicing any of the tools or skills to stop it, right? Then I'm not going to be able to connect with myself. So the stacking is really important. That was a big thing that I got in a divine download, to educate people so that we can be soft with ourselves, so we can be gentle with ourselves. It's not right or wrong or good or bad. It's just the information. So you want to get the physiology down. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just put the awareness into it. So then you can work on your mindset, and then you can work on your intuition. If you try to go straight for the intuition and you don't have your physiology down, it will be difficult. And then what happens is our ego gets in there, and then we start to harsh on ourselves, and then we don't want to do it anymore, right? So that's why this program's so passionate about it. You can probably hear it in my voice. It's a process. It's a process of a stacking so that you will have leverage. I want to give you leverage to get to the point where you're connecting with your intuition. So that's what it's all about. So this part, we're just going to talk about the cleanse now. So does anybody have any questions? I love questions. So ask me a question. It helps. I often will make myself ask a question when I'm in a seminar style, just so that I will stay engaged, even if I don't have one. It's a trick I learned a long time ago. Anybody have any questions about that first part?
Yeah, with like you're saying stacking, like are you saying like one thing at a time, basically?
Yes, exactly. Really good question, Brandis. So I'm saying just, for now, don't worry about the intuition. The thing is like a lot of it becomes intermeshed, right? Because it's like, if you're in a situation where you're like, oh, I really want to have that latte, like me, I'm like, oh, like I really like coffee and cookies and things like that. It is part of the mindset, right? It is a little bit of that. But when I say stacking, the month that we're doing the mindset, we're going to be going pretty bold with that, right? And so the first month with the physiology, yes, you have to be positive. Yes, you got to have discipline so you can get up in the morning to do your workout. Yes, you have to do all that, but we want it to be gentle, and the focus is just on body. So that's a really good question, right? That's a really good question. So the stacking is that way to give you leverage. Like, I want you to be strong so that when those temptations come up, you're just like, whatever, because you feel so good. And part of that is because of the supplements, right? They're going to help you. The herbs are really powerful. So great question. Anybody else? Did I answer that question?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Nothing? All right. So I want you to have leverage. So, why cleanse, right? Well, first of all, I have kind of a trick question. Who knows why I put the time from 6:30 to 7:30? Can you guess? Just off the top of your head. Why do you think I would put it? Why would I choose that time?
Wind down time.
Yes, exactly. We've got our college student over here. She's getting all the answers right. Exactly. Wind down time. So I purposely put it from 6:30 to 7:30 because I want you to know that by 6:30, you should have already had dinner, right? And it's going to take some adjusting. It was some adjusting for me, when I was doing this cleanse, because you know, it's easier on your body if you just always think I need 4 hours before I go to sleep. So we're going to be starting to aim towards heading to bed at 9 o'clock. That means you got to be finished eating by 5, right? That means you got to start cooking by 4. It's like, okay, really? So just do your best. You'll start to get the hang of it, right? And your body will adjust. And by around 4:30, you'll start be thinking like, I need to eat something, right? And so I was done eating by 6 o'clock. I was just done eating. So it's only for this time period. Don't get overwhelmed and think it's forever. We're just doing this cleanse. So the other part that I want to emphasize, is that if you start to feel overwhelmed, you kind of trick yourself and you're like, I'm just going to do it for a week. Or I'm just going to, there's the free trial for 2 weeks for the 14 days. And I'm really encouraging everybody to do that, so if you can just try this on for 2 weeks, you will feel a difference, right? Once you order all your supplements and you have them, you're just like, I'm doing 14 days now. I'm ready. I'm going to do all the things just to see how you feel, right? Just to notice it in your body. So the reason that we do a cleanse in general, and I've been doing cleanses for 30 years, long time, all different kinds. And the reason why is because, have you ever noticed that, maybe your life isn't looking that great? You're kind of like, this is kind of bothering me and that's kind of bothering me. And maybe I don't like my comforter in my bedroom and my partner's bugging me and my cat and dog or whatever. There's all these little things that build up. And then you go away, right, on a trip, and then you come home and things feel better. Has anybody ever had that experience? Just nod your head. Or you can say, no, you never had that experience. I feel like, that's something that's really common that happens. And it's kind of why people say, go away on a trip, right? Go away on a trip. And so what it's called a pattern interrupt. I'm going to talk about that a lot. It's called the pattern interrupt. And it's really, really powerful. It's really important to interrupt your patterns. Like, we get stuck in these patterns in our thoughts and in our actions, and then we don't even really know that we're doing them, right? We don't even know. And so again, this is about the leverage. So the reason that we're doing the cleanse is to take you out of your regular routine. We want to have some discipline, and we want to take you out of what you're normally doing. I'm going to shake you up, put you back in, and you'll be a different person. But what will happen in that process is you'll have the awareness and the consciousness to see how, maybe I don't really want to do that anymore. Maybe that wasn't such a great idea that I was doing that. I don't know. I haven't had a Coke in decades, but drinking Coke for breakfast. I'm sure people do that out there, right? But it's you gotta take yourself out of your thing, right? So that you can shake yourself up. So that's one of the reasons why. The other reason why is to just get back with our normal rhythms. So I just posted on Facebook, Brandis and I were talking about circadian rhythms. And I found a really beautiful image of the Chinese calendar, which I love. And being a practitioner of Oriental medicine, I've used that for a long time. And I posted that in our Facebook group. So go and look at it. And it's so cute. I love how it even has it's eating and sleeping and sex. And I was like, oh, that's so awesome that that's on there, and when are the best times for that? Because it's a certain kind of activity for your body, right? It's so cute. So it's learning all the different cycles, right? And how to be gentle with us. And just to understand, it's you don't have to do that if you don't want to. The reason I'm so passionate, again, is because of the leverage. Whatever we can do to make things easier on ourselves, let's do it, right? Raise your hand if you want things to be a little bit easier. I certainly do, right? If we can get that extra leverage so that we're just naturally making good choices and decisions, then why not, right? So that's another reason why traditional cultures have cleansed since the beginning of time. They just always did, because they understood how important that reset is, that pattern interrupt, that reset, right? So that's one of the things. Let's see. Oh, so it's really up to you. I'm going to encourage you within this first month of April, and for those of us that really like structure, where I'm like, we're starting the cleanse on the 1st or on the 5th or whatever, it's not going to be that kind of thing, because we're just going for the whole month of April. I really want to embrace this idea of the lifestyle. Like, I want everybody to be embracing the lifestyle so that it becomes, I know that this is a powerful system. I know that the herbs are powerful, and I want you to embrace it as your own. So my suggestion and my strong recommendation is to go to the Facebook group, and there is a workout that is so great. It's a business started by this woman, and you'll read all about the story. I'll talk about it in one of my other talks. But anyway, it's a free trial for 14 days. So I would go and sign up there. I'm highly encouraging everybody to wake up at 5. You wake up at 5 o'clock, you do your lemon water, you do your tea, and you do your manifestations that you write out, which I'll talk about, or whatever your spiritual practice is. You do your workout from 6 to 7 from that class. It's called The Class. You do your workout with those guys, because it's a real, I've been doing it for a while now, a couple months. It's a really, really, really wonderful workout where they do all the different parts of your body, and it's not too much, but it's just enough. And then they have all these positive mindsets. So, you'll be like doing jumping jacks, and then they're offering in all this positive philosophy, which is so great. So it fits perfect. It's such a gift. Like, I'm so grateful that we have that. So that would be my suggestion to you, is that today, order all the herbs and supplements, and whoever's listening to the replay, just get it when you can. It's okay. Then once it arrives, start your 14 days, right? You've got time. So with the class, and it just helps, it's part that I want to really support you with the leverage. What happens is once you start moving, and once you start listening to the class, you kind of get to know the different people. And it's this really interesting psychology that you almost feel like you're being held accountable, like only do the live. So whoever's doing it, I go and I look 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, who's doing it, right? Because it's like, it's just weird. It's a psychology. If you do the live, you will do it. But if it's not, you're kind of like, oh, whatever, I gotta clean my room right now, because you can just put it on pause. It doesn't matter. So it's part of the discipline, right? Do the live every morning at 6 o'clock. It's called The Class. It's in the Facebook group. So there's that. From my personal experience, one of the things that happened for me and got me really passionate about teaching this and starting this spring and supporting you all is that I am actually going to Maui at the end of this month on a spiritual retreat with a man who does channeling I've known for a long time, and his name is Paul Selig. And it's pretty pricey, and I'm going, taking time off away from my family, away from my client. I'm going to see clients still that week, but it's a big deal. And so I understand how this energetics thing works, and I know that you all do too. If I'm going to go and invest that much in myself, I want to get as much as I possibly can out of it. I don't want to be congested. I don't want to be fuzzy. And we'll talk more, in my body, but also in my mind, right? It's all connected. So I just wanted to make sure that I was super fit and looking good on the beach in Hawaii, right? Was part of it. Super, just clean and clear so that I could absorb the transmissions and get the most out of the seminar. So it's good to have something like that. So it's almost like the carrot, right? So it's the psychology, it's the carrot on the string. So if I'm laying in bed and it's 5 a.m. and I don't want to fucking get up, all I have to do is be like, okay, well, you'll feel so much better, on the beach in Hawaii, or sitting there during the transmissions, right? So that I know this, and this is kind of an advanced thing. So I set it up myself to do that, right? Where I'm like, and I've been doing this for a little while, so consider that for yourself. It doesn't have to be going on a retreat. It could be going to a super fancy dinner with your girlfriend, whatever you can do to celebrate yourself for something that's a pretty special thing. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you invested in like a mini retreat, right? That you're going to celebrate yourself on the day, right? That you finish or whatever, the end of it. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions about that?
Makes sense.
It's leverage. So this call is just coming through. That seems to be really important for us right now, is to talk about leverage. So whatever you can do in your psychology, it's like, how can you give yourself leverage? It's like, just don't buy that stuff. Don't have it in the house, right? It's just like, I don't buy things that aren't helpful or healthy because I'll eat it. So I just don't buy it. It's like, not in my house, So if you're like, oh, I'm just going to buy this like special bottle of wine and I won't drink it and it'll just be like for the end of the 90 days, it's like, okay, if you think that that's going to happen, but if you really like to drink wine, just wait until the end. It's like that kind of psychology, and if that happens, don't harsh on yourself. Just be like, well, now I know, and what could I, because the thing about that is when that stuff happens, and this is really important to understand, is that it's not our fault. Like, it's just that we didn't set ourselves up for success. We didn't have enough leverage. So there's nothing wrong with us, right? We're not imperfect. We didn't do anything wrong. We just didn't give ourselves enough momentum and enough leverage to support ourselves to make a better choice. And so that's what this cleanse is all about, right? So that's really exciting. All right. So you have all been invited to the Facebook group. You all have Dale's book. We're going to be doing the Zoom calls once a week. And I'm still navigating on the schedule, but I have everybody's info and we're all tuned in, so I want to say that it's going to be this time, but it might shift. So I'll let everybody know there's going to be a replay. I'm going to set it up so that you only get the replay for 5 days, because I know how that goes with replays. It's like, I don't want you guys to have like a whole bunch of replays and start to feel overwhelmed. So it's going to disappear before the next one comes. And I am going to keep it pretty short. So, because this one is an intro, we'll probably go to 7:15 and then do some questions. But I really want to keep it short so that you're getting the content, but you're not like, oh my God, I got to listen to this thing of all these people like talking about their lives. I don't want to listen, right? So I want to keep it short. All right. So I want to talk about the Word document that I sent you. So you're going to go through and just really gently read that, just kind of go through it and see if everything in there, as you understand. You can always, all of you have my number. The easiest way to get a hold of me is just to shoot me a text. Like if you send me an email, it might take a little while. Don't call me. I have my phone always turned off. So just shoot me a text. I'll respond right away. And no question is annoying to me. Like, I absolutely love it. Like, I live, I think you all know me pretty well. I literally live, eat, breathe, and poop transformation. So I'm super happy to like talk about it and any questions that you have, right? That's why I'm here. And so with that, you are going to go to the Facebook group, and there's a video of me going through some of the supplements. I think there's 2 that I didn't have in the house because they were somewhere else, but you'll see the photo in the Facebook group. It's really easy to look at. You can see the different supplements that you're going to order. And then when you get them, there's a video where I describe how to take them. So you're going to watch that. If you have any questions, like, I didn't hear how many doses, how many capsules, do I do, just text me, right? So you're going to have that. And then there's going to be some information on what to eat. So this is almost going to be on the next call, but I'll just give you a little preview to make it really easy. So a really easy way to think about this cleanse is you want to go for seeds. So go for seeds. So we are going to be eating all organic as much as we can in season, right? So it's like unlimited fruits, unlimited, like easy on the fruits as much, unlimited vegetables, right? And almost unlimited fruits. If you have a fruit thing, talk to me about it because they do have a lot of sugar. And try to do your best to do it in season. And then it's just like, okay, well, then I'm going to be hungry all the time. And it's like, all right, well, think seeds. So the really beautiful thing about having this month be all about a physiology and all about our body and food is that when you practice kind of an elimination diet, what starts to happen is it actually expands your menu because you're like, all right, obviously we're not going to be doing like alcohol, caffeine, sugar, processed foods, right? Those are like kind of like everybody knows that. But for this cleanse, we're not going to be doing beans. We're not going to be doing grains, and that's a big one. In the past, I've always done this khichdi cleanse that's beans and rice, and it's just so yummy. So we're not going to be doing that. So you want to think seeds, and there are so many different kinds of seeds. So you could do pine nuts are kind of seeds. Quinoa is a seed, right? Get the red quinoa. So you're going to be eating a lot of quinoa, amaranth. And this is all, and I'll, ask me again. So you want to look at the different seeds. Basically, it's buckwheat, amaranth, teff, quinoa, and then you got like all the ones that we know, like sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds, right? And I'll be doing a recipe like of the buckwheat. A really, really yummy thing to do is to get the buckwheat flour and you put a little bit of water in it and you just make a tortilla and you put it on your grill, but then you're going to take some spices I'm going to tell you about and a little bit of salt and you just heat it up and then you put ghee on it. It's so good. It's so good. And it'll satiate that feeling, right? So you're going to be doing, you can do quinoa and then have some kind of vegetables mixed in and then put a little ghee on top and put that in your tortilla or even eat your tortilla with it. And it's like, oh my God, like my kids have been eating that and they just think that this is all the best food ever. They're not like, oh no, we're not eating this and that. They're just perfectly happy. So you want to do your best to not eat what are called like starch bombs. Like for a while there when I wasn't feeling creative, I was just like, well, I'll eat a potato because that's like on the cleanse and then I'm not, it's just be careful of that, like doing too much of that. So we want to just have balance. And one of the things that you want to look at and I'll remind you of all this. I know this is a lot of information. You want to look in the Facebook group. There's a red, like a screenshot that's red color where it has a chart and it talks about all the different kinds of things that we're doing. And then it'll give you like, this is the best. This is kind of like medium. And then this is like, please don't do this. This won't help you. And so you can look at that chart and it will help you, understand just kind of what to go for, right? So chia seeds is another one. I mean, there's a lot of seeds out there. So we could do seeds for a while. What's really yummy is to take like pumpkin seeds or pine nuts and roast it in a skillet. So that's a yummy thing to do. And then, some people that are doing the cleanse, college students, we also have some professionals that don't have access to a kitchen, right? And so the beautiful thing about that is that there's all these fancy grocery stores out there. So you can stop in, and get the kind of foods that you need. And then just be mindful, just notice what you're doing. And if in a pinch you have to eat some beans and rice, then you do, it's okay. Like I hope I'm emphasizing that this is, we're doing this a gentle way. So you do your best, right, with what we're doing. And so why? Can anybody guess, like, why would we not be doing beans and rice? I feel like the other ones are obvious, but why would this be like only fruits and vegetables and only seeds? Can anybody guess?
I
High
mean,
carbs, sugar.
Yeah, sugar and
Just like not that much other stuff.
Yeah, that's a really, yeah, both of those are really good. Yeah. Because, you know, a lot of people have allergies for foods, like a lot of the wheat allergies, I feel like, are because we've just been doing the same thing. You know, like when I was growing up, I was like, God, no wonder people have these like crazy allergies. So you eat toast for breakfast, then you have a sandwich for dinner, right? And then, I mean, for lunch, and then you have, like pasta for dinner. It's like you're eating the same wheat process, you know, our bodies were never meant to be that way. So yes, doing the seeds, it's going to give you a break from all that. You're going to have the variety. You're just like, your brain and your body is going to explode and lighten up because there's all these different like flavors and textures and things. The other reason why is because beans and rice and other things that are more complex require a lot of energy to digest, a lot of energy. And so when we're eating something that's complex and our body has to go into all of this energy to digest the food, it's not going to be putting that energy into the detoxification. It just won't. So that's, you know, why people do fasting is for that reason, where they'll just have water, you know, and I've done a lot of fasts like that, because what happened, you know, in animals, when they get sick, the first thing they do is they stop eating, right? For that reason, because it requires a lot of energy to heal the body. And if it needs to heal, it can't do the digestion, right? But if there's some heavy things in there, then it's kind of like not go into cleansing mode as much, right? So the seeds are really light, and you just got to be, you know, mindful of your proportions. I'm not going to lie. I have been, I want to say, experiencing the sensation of hunger more often, and it feels good. I know that sounds really strange, but this is why it's good to commit to this and understand that it's not like forever you're starving yourself. When you work out first thing in the morning and you go to bed early and you get up early, it's going to like fire your metabolism, right? And you're going to notice that you feel more fit in your body. You just feel better. And there's also kind of like this hunger going on, which feels really good because it feels like you're alive, and you'll start to notice like, wow, when I wasn't doing this cleanse, I would get that sensation of hunger. And then I would immediately think I had to like stuff my face. You know, it's like, oh, hunger means eat, you know, without any consciousness or preparedness or awareness. Right. And so now I just notice, I'm like, oh, I'm noticing the sensation that I'm hungry. Right. And there's a whole psychology to that, where there's this thing called false hunger. I've definitely, the more awareness I have where that's happened to me, where I've like eaten a full meal and then I've literally had that sensation of being hungry. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. You know, it's called false hunger. It's like a psychology thing. It's emotional eating, right? People call it emotional eating. So, you know, we can play around with this. So when you start to feel hungry, just notice, say, I'm just noticing that I'm hungry. I'm just noticing the sensation of being hungry. And then do you have a question? Go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah. It was brought to my awareness that parasites actually cause us to want to eat sugars, junk food, all this stuff. And if there's something in the parasite type cleanse with this, coherently, all those addictions, so to speak, with anything to do with food, even sometimes if people drink or any of that stuff, it just goes away.
Right. So that's leverage, right? I love how you're bringing that up, because it's like, why suffer? Why make things more difficult for us? So that's a really good point. I do have knowledge and access to herbs if somebody wants to add in like a wormwood treatment, you know. I mean, we all could. It's like, why not? Parasites are more common than people realize. They're really, really very common. So another thing to do is, you know, if you don't want to do like the full on herbs, you can do a lot of raw garlic. So every now and then I'll do that. So what you want to do is you just get a garlic clove and chop it up, and then you basically just take it medicinally. So when you're eating, I mean, you could put it on the buckwheat, but sometimes eating raw garlic is really challenging. I don't know. I love it. But when I'm doing it medicinally, I'll take a clove. Actually, I don't chop it up. I'll just cut it in half and I just take it like a pill. So, that will help with any kind of parasites. And it's a perfect lifestyle thing to do. Like I love that you brought that up. It's a perfect thing to do. Like we should all be doing that, every
Keeps
spring.
mosquitoes away too.
Yeah, it keeps mosquitoes away.
Might
Yeah.
even keep your husband away.
I know, I was gonna say, I always think of
I'm
garlic
joking. I'm just joking.
really sexy, but because it's so healthy. It actually is, because it like moves your blood, right? So it is really healthy.
Yes, it's really good for it.
Yeah, it's really good for you. So health is wealth, right? So that is a really good point. Yeah. So garlic is one. And then if anybody, you can just text me and I'll help get you set up with some wormwood and different things like that. All right. So within the Word document, I'm going to stop talking now because it's almost 7:15. Within the Word document, you're going to see, I'm going to have it listed, the different supplements that I want you to purchase. So if you could do that, like you haven't already, do it as soon as you can. And then there's another link at the end. And so my friend who's been doing this too, she made this link that goes into Amazon and it has those supplements so that you can order them really easily. But there's actually all these other like fun, cool things that you can order if you want to. So, there's just go through and look at it, because maybe you don't want to get everything right now. Maybe you don't want to spend all that money, but I like the Hawaiian black salt. That stuff is just so cool because it has so many minerals in it. It's black and it's just so yummy, right? So I'd recommend that salt over, any other. There's some like minerals in there that you can take a bath. There's a tongue scraper. There's, all kinds of things. The one thing that I would really suggest to start off with, unless you're super familiar with spices, and this is again in one of the videos, is that I say, the combo with the Ayurvedic herbs is to get the whole seeds of coriander, cumin, and fennel. So go buy organic the jars of cumin, coriander, and fennel. And then what I do is I take all three of those and I pour them into a little dish. And that just makes everything amazing. Like you can put that on top of a salad. You can make those buckwheat tortilla things I was saying and put the herbs and smash it in, right? With a little bit of salt and cook it like that. It's like those three, and they're called sattvic, so they're really good for our spirit and for our digestion. And just make sure you get a really good quality organic one, because that makes all the difference. So yeah, and then just keep, I'm going to be checking the Facebook group a lot. And so if you have a question about something, chances are somebody else does too. So go there and just ask questions and post things, remember, it's like good karma points, right? All right. Does anyone have any questions? Make up a question if you don't have one.
So you said it was coriander. What
Cumin.
was the three again?
Yeah, coriander, cumin, like cumin, and fennel. And so just as long as we're talking about it, fennel is the only one that's really sweet. And that's like a very common in Ayurvedic and other medicines to have that balance, right? So the flavors are important for us in the United States. Like everything has to be really sweet or really salty, right? But it's like those flavors are so bold. So the fennel is sweet, but it's really just one sweet and then two of the other pungent. So yeah, I mean, it's so good. Yes, Michelle.
What about the oils?
Oh, good question. Yeah.
I'm not talking about, just because I use.
Really good question. We're not doing any oils at all, but we're only going to do ghee. So clarified butter. Does everybody know
what I mean by so clarified butter is the one that's not made from cow, or it's not, or it's the
They cook it, and so the butter fat comes off. And I actually asked my teacher, I'm like, well, what do they do with the butter fat? And they like toss it, because it just creates congestion. It just creates congestion and stagnation. So it's called clarified butter. And that's when you're really going to want to get organic, because all the toxins are stored in fat, so it's like, and there's also, I'm so been doing organic for so long. But if you're kind of like living with somebody who's like, well, it's not that big a deal, there's a list of the Dirty Dozen. And I've even put it in the Facebook group, of like I can't remember, but you can look it up, Dirty Dozen, and see the kinds of fruits and vegetables are the ones that have that most heavily pesticides, so that you're getting ones that are less, or just buy everything that's organic, because it's like, support those people, that are doing that.
What about the oil for your body? Oils and
Good
stuff for
question.
your body.
Right. So what you want to do with the ghee is that when you're cooking, you want everything to kind of be the consistency of your stomach. I did a video on this one and I was like, it sounds gross, but when you're cooking, you're going to want it to be like warm. We're going for warm because we don't want to like harsh out our systems. So you're going to put the ghee on after, right? I know sometimes it's really nice and so delicious to put the ghee in and fry the heck out of the onions and then add everything. We're not doing that this time. So you're going to cook everything in water, and then you can put the ghee on after. If you start to have dry skin, that's in that Amazon list, get some jojoba oil is a really good one. As long as it's natural, Michelle, you can get any kind you want to massage your body, right?
I've had some Ayurveda oils from India, some natural ones.
Yeah.
And
really
the one that the smell killed me. Man, my nose, if it doesn't smell right, my body just goes into heebie-jeebies. I mean, literally.
Yeah, it probably wasn't really, very natural. So go for like Trader Joe's has an organic jojoba oil, or you can order one off Amazon, or argan oil. Like Trader Joe's has an organic argan oil. That's one I use for my face. It's so great. I love argan oil. Those two. Any kind
No
of
creams.
Well, you're doing your best to cleanse and get all this stuff out. So as long as there's no like, additives or any of that, and we'll go deeper into it next call where I'll talk about like dry skin brushing. And I did a video on that a little.
Yeah, because Australia seems to have a lot of good stuff. There's natural, where our country is not as much, probably very little.
Yes, there's a cosmetics called Beauty Counter. I made a video on that on my YouTube channel, like
okay.
If you want to, but I like Beauty Counter. They're actually from the UK. Oh no, they're from Santa Monica. I'm sorry. They're from the United States. It's like a woman who was like just so done with the laws in the United States. And she's like, all this toxic shit and it's not regulated. Whereas in Europe, it's more regulated. So Beauty Counter. All right. I don't want to go much any longer. Any other questions?
Can you say what the like how many supplements you're supposed to take at what times again?
Yes. Okay. So there's going to be and the tea is a really good one. So don't forget the tea. That tea is so delicious, the ashwagandha tea. So basically,
and sorry, with that, like, can you drink that in the morning, like as the tea that you have or whatever?
Yeah, I would do a warm lemon water because that's going to really support your liver, and your liver is part of the detoxing organ. So doing warm lemon water is like standard for cleansing. It just does so much. It's so important. So doing the warm lemon water first thing in the morning, and then that tea that's on the list is such good tea. You could drink that all day long. It's so good. I mean, it's really delicious.
Ashwagandha?
It's a Tulsi brand ashwagandha.
I've had ashwagandha before, but not on a tea, and it sedates me.
Well, just do a lighter dose. You don't have to do it, Michelle. You don't have to do it. It's just like a nice thing to have, the tea. If it feels too sedative, then don't do it.
I'll try it just because chamomile, I like natural stuff too. So
yeah, I love chamomile. So that there's the tea, right? And so the first one that you're going to notice is called triphala or whatever you say. That's going to be the one that's going to help move your bowels. And so I was talking about this before, that when I first started doing the cleanse, I was like, okay, for sure, there's like more stuff coming out than is coming in. Like, I feel like I am not eating that much than I am like outputting there. Like, I was just felt like it was so much. And so if you start to notice that and feel like that, just understand that your body is releasing all of the toxins, right? So like all those little dead cells and all the stuff that's just been kind of sitting there because it didn't have an opportunity to relax and release, right? So that might start to happen, so that's the triphala. So that's the one that's going to help move your bowels. So if you already are like really regular and you have a bowel movement a couple of times a day, you could take like 1 or 2 capsules of the triphala. You're not going to take any in the morning, just at 9 o'clock at night before you go to bed. If you tend to be on the constipated side, you could take like 3 or 4 capsules, right? You just see how you feel. If you feel like you're pooping a lot, just do 1 or don't do any, because you're just fine. But it is going to help purge your liver and kidney. The next one is called liver and kidney cleanse. And so that one you're going to do between 3 capsules to 5 capsules. So I'm going to say 3 to 5 a lot because everybody's constitution is so different. So start with 3 capsules and then see how you feel. If you feel good and you're feeling like hearty, then you want more, then take more. But if you're like, oh, I don't know, I'm not eating right and I'm like hungry and I feel like that might be too much for me, then take 3. The liver, kidney, you're going to do 9 o'clock in the morning and 9 o'clock at night. So twice a day. So there's the triphala, there's the liver, kidney. Then the next one is the shatavari. So that's a really lovely herb that's just going to help balance. It's all about balancing our hormones and endocrine and all of that stuff. And so that one, same dose as the liver, kidney.
And how do you spell that one? I didn't catch it.
Shatavari. It's SHATAVARI.
On the 3rd page.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so that one's really good. And then there's another one that's called an intestinal movement one. And that one I have on the list because on Wednesdays, my recommendation is to do, and I'll talk more about it as we progress, but it's good to do Wednesdays as a soup day. And so I've been doing that for a while and it's an alarm on my phone. And now I'm kind of like, I might just like keep doing it. So the reason why we do that is because it gives our digestion a rest, right? It requires a lot of energy to like be digesting all this stuff. And so we'll go over, I made a video of all the different tools, like you basically just all the stuff that you're eating and then you find a way to like puree it, right? And then you got a soup. But there's this really delicious soup recipe. It's on my Instagram, so you can go through my Instagram and find it. I put like fennel and I think an apple and fresh green spinach and I blended it up in the pan. It was so good and so filling, right? You're like, wow, I'm not even hungry. Like this is just so delicious. So you're going to notice that you're like, will be eating less in smaller proportions and you just won't need that much food. We're so used to eating, at least I am. I grew up in the Midwest and it was like big portions of everything, right? And it's just like, we don't really need to be eating that much, So there's that, there's the intestinal movement. I think I covered, was that all of them, Brandis? I think that was it.
What was that last one that you said
It's called an intestinal movement formula. It's in the list. And it's the one to take on Wednesdays. If you're having trouble with the bowel movement, because you're not going to have any like heavy, large, like fibrous foods because you're blending things. So that's what that one's for. Honestly, like I haven't really been using it.
Yeah,
But
I don't have any issues with bowel movements, but I don't know if this is going to, is it
I
gonna
wouldn't take it then. If you don't, Julia, I wouldn't even order it. Because you just like less is more, right?
okay.
It might be too complicated. I mean, not that it's too complicated, but it's like if we can keep things as simple as possible, that's where we're going, right? and have fun. That was one of the videos that I made. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting so serious. It's like, just, we got to like always remember to put a smile on our face and understand that we're doing this because we love ourselves. Like, it's the highest form of self-care and self-love, right? We love ourselves because something that I'm saying is resonating with you, right? Something that I'm talking about, you're like, oh, that's truth. That's truth for me. I didn't make it up. I mean, I got this information through other things. I got it through source, through a divine download or from some other people that I trusted. And then I experiment with myself, and if I didn't notice a change, I certainly wouldn't be teaching it to you guys. But I was like, oh, this stuff really works. I'm going to share this. And so it's just to get excited, like, what a joy. You think of all the people that don't even know, about this. You're like, oh, I'm doing this 90-day to you cleanse, body, mind, and spirit. And they're like, huh, you're doing a food cleanse, but like, what does that mean? And then they're like, oh, that's a good idea. I could like cleanse my mind a little bit too, right? So we are going to be doing that, we're cleansing our bodies, but we're also going to be cleansing our minds, and part of the cleansing to connect with spirit. So it's really beautiful. It's a really beautiful process. And share with others, because when you get excited about it, they'll get excited too, and then they'll support you, and then you'll be sharing and they'll learn something too. It's just like, things are changing, right? Things are changing and they need to change because it's just not working, right? We know that. You can see all the sickness and illness around, especially with kids, like little kids. That's one where I'm just like, how could that even be possible? So we're doing it. We're being the change, right? We're going to change ourselves and we're going to be the change, and we're going to share with others. And it is 7:30. So I'm going to end. Any last questions? You can always text me, right? Reach out to me. Go ahead, Michelle. Last question.
Like the omegas, that, as we get older, my system needs omegas. I do also need the iodine in my system. That keeps my balance with my hormones, even though I don't have natural hormones because I don't have any of those organs. They were taken out at a really young age, and I didn't have the supplement to be told to take. So my body is running on trying to get itself in some type of balance.
Yeah. I mean, you could take a break from the omegas for 2 weeks just to kind of have a break and reset. That would be my recommendation. If you feel like you really need to take them, like I have a fish oil that I take every now and then, and I do different ones too. So I hear you on that. It's not going to hurt you to take a break for 2 weeks. And it's just kind of nice to mix it up. But it's really, that's going to be your call. And then as far as iodine goes, is that I am a big supporter of seaweeds. So you'll see me in a lot of the videos, and then go to my Instagram account and see the things I've been posting lately, because they've been about this cleanse. And I just love seaweeds, so seaweeds are where you're going to get your iodine naturally. I do have like a regular multivitamin that I really love because it does my hair and it does my nails, and I'm still taking that one. I'm just like, I just want to take it. So yeah, you really got to see, that's why it's called the lifestyle cleanse, because it's all about lifestyle. We're all different people, right? Everybody's so different. So here's some things that are available, but you want to adjust it for yourself. Okay. Any other questions?
What has the protein?
There's lots of protein in all the different like veggies and food, and you've got all the seeds, right? And even the, like quinoa, all that they all have protein. Yeah, but that's a good question. That's why I said, think seeds, right? Think seeds. So many different kinds of seeds. And you can even do a seed mix. Like I did the one that I was sharing with Julie about those different spices. I had that in a little bowl, and then I roasted some pumpkin seeds. I think I had even sunflower seeds too. So I had that mix, roasted pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, and then a little bit of that volcanic black salt. And I just had it in a bowl sitting out on my counter. Oh my God, it was so good. So I just snack on it or put it on salads, right? So get creative and have fun. That's the kind of thing that we can start posting in the group. It just happened naturally because I had all this stuff laying around and I just kind of put it all in a bowl and I was like, this is delicious. right? So just
Are
have fun.
you doing the 6 tastes from Ayurveda? Are you incorporating that in?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I would highly recommend that you do that. Always be thinking that way. I'm not really emphasizing that this time around. I don't know why. I haven't really gotten like a download that was really important. I did mention that in one of the videos. I remember it could have been the Instagram post. I don't remember, but like what she's talking about is that if you make sure that every meal has all those different flavors, you will feel satiated and you won't be hungry. So like if one of them is missing, right? So if we're like always eating sweet, then it's like your body's going to want those other textures and flavors, right? So, I think of like a rainbow of colors. That's kind of the way I think of it on a plate. And then you'll get all those different flavors and textures. So the bigger list, the link to Amazon, there's a lot of different spices on there. Like you can have a lot of fun with the spices, you can like take it.
Did she freeze?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got her smiling. I'm just wondering about the atrophy that your body, your muscles and stuff will, from being on just vegetables and fruit and quinoa.
Yeah,
because it's really key to keep that, especially as you get older. Very key to keep.
That's funny.
okay.
I just said maybe because I had on the Zoom that it was, who knows what just happened, but anyway, that's good.
I was just asking about the BMI on your mass of your muscle mass and your bone mass. You lose it if you do not get enough protein balance within your body, especially as we get older, and then it becomes dangerous to us. I'm not talking about fatty liver and all this other stuff. I'm literally talking about you lose the muscle mass, so then you can't walk or you can't lift stuff, and it really even happens to younger people too. And we're seeing it more and more since that virus came through.
Yeah, well, that's why this is a lifestyle cleanse, right? But the actual part that we're doing, I don't think you're going to be going on for weeks and weeks and weeks. So it shouldn't affect you. That's what I'm saying. You could even don't do the omegas for 2 weeks and you'll be okay. So,
Right,
but
2 weeks is not a big deal. I agree with
yeah,
that.
it's not a big deal. I mean, we have enough time that if you order the supplements, you could actually go 3 weeks. And the thing is that the second month is all about, it's a whole 90 days. So the idea is that you'll feel so good. You'll stay with some of these food practices as we carry on, It's like, we don't want to just like stop, but we want to like incorporate them like gently, So Michelle, if you feel like for your physical vessel, you need more protein, then do that. I mean, I haven't eaten any animal products. I think it's been like 2 months or a little longer. And then I was just happened to be going out to lunch and I didn't plan, I didn't have my food. And they had this amazing wild caught salmon and brown rice. And I was like, I'm just going to order that, that's okay. And I felt so good. My body was so happy, and it just like, that's intuitively what I wanted. And that was okay.
I'm not
And
eating a lot of meat, so Rachel, I'm not a big meat eater anyways. If I have to, I will, but it just doesn't taste the same as it did some decades ago. And like I will maybe eat tuna sometimes, but it's all the white stuff, not any of the other. It's more whole. You can tell it, you can taste it, you can smell it, you can feel it. It just, even a cat won't eat it. That's how bad it is if it's not right. I mean, animals are really smart about this. So I would, and I like,
the
I like
seeds
beans.
are going to have a lot of protein. The seeds are going to have a lot of protein.
The seeds have tons.
Yeah, seeds have a lot of protein. Yeah. And so do vegetables. If you look up all the different vegetables, they have a lot. So, all right, I'm going to sign off because I don't want to be too
I just have one quick question. You said,
okay.
No fats, oils, but avocados. Are you good with? I eat. Okay.
I've eaten a lot of avocados.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Well, you know,
Thank you.
what's really fun about this cleanse too is that because I've been feeling so clean and clear, it feels so good to take like a blob of ghee and put it on and eat an avocado, and right? Because it's like that kind of fat is so good for us. And when we have all those other kinds of foods where we're just more congestion, you're just, I don't know, it doesn't feel as good. It's like creates more congestion. But since you're clean and clear, eating an avocado a day is going to feel so good. So yeah, I've been eating like a half avocado at least once a day, you know, sometimes a whole avocado, like I'll have half, you know, for lunch and maybe half for dinner, or at least a half for dinner, right? Because the fat's going to like help you sleep. So yeah, good question. Anything
All right.
else?
Thank you, Rachel. Good to
Okay,
see
so
everybody.
welcome.
Michelle, it's
you.
good to see you. And you're new to me, Brandy, right? Brandy?
Brandis.
Brandis. Oh, that's pretty.
Thanks.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye
Bye,
everybody.
Julie. Bye,
Bye.
Brandis. Bye,
Bye.
Rachel.
Bye.
Thank you.